Hello and welcome to another episode of Wartune Solo Adventures. Today I'm going to do something a bit different. Um, the events in Wartunes are extremely uninteresting and nothing really new is happening, so I'm just basically grinding out my archaeology and all the other daily stuff, but not doing much else. So I thought I'd actually start up a small project of mine that I've been wanting to do for a while, so I thought now would be a good time. So I will call this project Team TSA. So TSA could be the solo adventurer or army or something. Basically, I am going to create 4 new characters and then play them up as a team. So it's not really soloing, but they will be playing. I will play all 4 characters at a time, so sort of multi-boxing, and I will not interact with anyone else. I will have all of the 4 characters in their own guild, and only their income will provide the guild skills and so on, so they probably won't ever be maxed out, but basically I want to see how far I can get, and I also like to explore the new starting zones and whatnot. I've recently started up the 4 characters and ran them up to level 20-ish, and the starting experience is actually a bit different from when I did it last time. They removed a lot of stuff and then introduced some other things, so I thought I'd take a bit of a look at those. So this episode will be about starting your new character and what you should think about and so on. So I guess the main choice you have when you start up a new character is to decide if you want to start on a fresh server or on an old server. So there are some pretty big differences actually. If you decide to go with a new server, you will be able to take part in a whole bunch of new server events where you get a lot of free stuff, assuming you are able to play a lot in the beginning. You will also be on obviously all the other players on the server will be new as well, so for a while anyway there will be an even playing field and you will have a chance to compete for the top spots. However, if you look at the status of Wartune now, server mergers are quite frequent, so most likely your new server will, in a few months or maybe half a year or so, it will be merged with a bunch of older servers, and when that happens you will be put together with a bunch of older players, and it could be you lose your chance of competing unless you spend a whole bunch of money, which you could do obviously, but also you will, if you start on a completely new server, you will be locked out from all of the current events for a month. I think it's 30 days until all new events start rolling in on the newly created servers. Since the events have turned into crap, basically, that's a bit less of a deal, but as I will show you, it could make a bit of a difference anyway. So yeah, that's the reason for going with the new server, basically. So if you instead decide to go with an old server, you will be able to take part in all of the events from the start, which can make your new character's life a huge amount easier. But all the other players on the server are way ahead of you, so you'll probably never be able to catch up power-wise. So it depends on whether you find that important or not. For me, since I'm running 4 characters simultaneously, I choose to go with an old server. Well, actually, it's a whole bunch of merged servers, and benefit of this is that I can use one single account, which is my main account. So I basically looked up the latest server merger thread and then picked a bunch of servers where 4 or more servers were merged. And then I just created one character on 4 of the servers. So 4 different servers, but in the game, all my characters will be on the same server, so I can put them in the same guild and group and so on, without having to have multiple accounts, which is good. Also, this is a side project, and I probably won't have. I'm not sure how much time I would be able to spend on it, so I probably wouldn't be able to take part in all of the new server events. They basically require you to play quite extensively for 4 weeks if you want all of the rewards. And if you can't do that, then you lose quite a lot of the benefits. I won't be able to compete with any top players anyway, so that's not really a big deal for me, but all of the new events would be. But since that won't happen for me, I decided to go with the old servers. So after going through the character creation for 4 new characters, I noticed that it really, this is something I knew already, but I find it a bit tedious that you're so locked in. Basically, you spend probably a good half hour or so just following the intro guide, and you can't really do anything. You are forced into the path to explore all the parts of the game. And it would be nice to be able to skip that. I know how the buildings work and so on, but you will constantly get new screens that you can't close, so you have to follow the quest line, the main quest line. It also takes quite a long time to level up 4 different characters at the same time, obviously, but that was to be expected. The beginning will be a bit time consuming because pretty much I will need to run all of the solo dungeons with each character. I will also need to run each character through Forgotten Catacombs and so on. I will try to skip as much of that content as possible. I hope to be able to, since there are a lot of improvements to the leveling system these days. And I will also be able to run the multiplayer dungeons every day, so hopefully I can skip some of the content. It is also a bit of a problem because I will make my characters group characters, basically. So my knight here will be the tank, and I will go with the more defensive skills. And then I have a healer mage. So my team is 2 mages, 1 knight, and 1 archer. So when you pick group-oriented skills, getting through the solo content, some of it can actually be a bit tricky before you get good gear and so on. So you need to go through, for instance, I think you need level 60 Forgotten Catacombs to be able to buy some of the equipment stuff. Yeah, you need to go to level 100 eventually, but there are a few thresholds you need to pass, and they can be a bit tricky when you, for instance, focus on healing skills or tank skills and so on. But we'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to make it work. I also expect to, since I've been playing this game for a few years on and off, I think I know the importance part of the game, because running 4 characters through all of the content every day, that would be way too time consuming. So I will skip most of the stuff that isn't too important and focus on stuff that will improve my characters and get them leveling quickly. I also know that I probably won't, I definitely won't, for instance, right now there's the online reward event running, so I got a lot of these materials, but I will never use them, so I will just save some inventory space and just clear them out. So these ones are a bit iffy, but perhaps my free characters will reach the stage where they can refine themselves. We'll see, but for now I'll save them. So there's a few new things that weren't around when I leveled my first character. So one of the more interesting ones is the starter's welfare. Basically, this seems to have replaced. You used to get chests at level 5, 10, 15, and so on with some free stuff. These are now removed. You also used to have the 7-day introduction where you got a bunch of stuff for completing different parts of the game. You getting a full set of level 30 equipment and so on. That's been removed as well. But the starter's welfare is new, so, and this one has a time limit, 10 days, so I guess I will need to try to complete as much of it as possible. And as you can see here, there are some rewards you get for free. So my character reached level 20, and I get 10 of these crystals for free, so I can craft 2 pieces of the first set. But then there's also some bonus rewards which cost balance. This one, though, is actually pretty. If you're going to start a new real character and you plan to spend some money, here's one of the rewards here is that you can buy a 6-month VIP card for 2,400 balance. So that's 400 balance per month, which is more than a 50% discount. So that is actually a really good deal if you are planning on spending money anyway, which I will not be doing on this account or on these characters. But if you are, make sure to do this. And as the special packs are still around, so if you're planning on spending money, you should probably recharge 500 balance to get this Earth Sword, well, the legendary weapon, which is equivalent to, I'm not sure if it's the level 40 set, or perhaps even higher, and you would also get wings. So, I am a level 20 now, so I'm going to collect my stones there, and as you can see, more of the stuff pops up. Okay, so I can spend 10 balance and buy 10 more. That's not something I will do because you get enough stones just by running the multiplayer dungeon. I did run it once today, and unfortunately 2 of my characters sort of crashed, so they got booted from the run, which means I could only complete the dungeon with 2 of my 4 characters and to get the rewards. I will have to wait until tomorrow to get the full set with all characters. Yeah, and I think this is the way it's been for a real long time, but you don't need any materials basically for the lower sets. You can just use your stones. So that will help me a bit, and also I should probably try to get enough get far enough in the catacombs to be able to buy some jewelry, because that will make a big difference in battle rating and power, which is nice when you're just going through the first solo dungeons and so on. So I can now claim some devotion rewards, and they are quite helpful. 200k gold is nice, as well as 100k daru. So right now there's the login event running, and as it happens, today is the final day. So basically, just after logging in, I can complete this quest and get 1 million gold, which is a huge difference, obviously, for a new character. I had like 50k gold before. I've now gotten some gold from. There was a special event for multiplayer dungeons where I got 300k gold and so on. So this is really good, and 100 rune stones as well as 5 medallions, which is really good also for a new character. So this is where the playing on older servers makes a really big difference. And these login events, for instance, are usually around most of the time, which means I will be able to get a whole bunch of gold and daru and gems and some of the basic stuff that your old characters just throw away. These are really useful for new players. I will put all of this gold into my guild. So I still haven't been able to get any guild skills because my guild is only level 2, but with this gold I should be able to upgrade the guild to level 3, which means I can buy the skills. This character isn't the guild leader though, so I'll have to do that later. And as that's kind of an old change, but they've reduced the cooldowns on construction and so on drastically. So you basically up to level 20 you only spend 5 seconds waiting, so you don't have to sit around waiting for your buildings to upgrade. You can do it really quickly, which is really good. They also seem to have removed a lot of the buildings. There are no cottages and so on. So it's pretty convenient. Wasn't really a big part of the game anyway, so a bit less grinding to go through. And I noticed that the new characters can start archaeology right away, which is something I probably should be doing, because all those annoying legendary armor stones that you throw away when you do this on your own, on your normal characters, will be really useful for lower level characters, which would save you a whole bunch of insignias and grinding. So I probably should do that, though I'm not really looking forward to running 120 extra attempts per day, so I probably won't either, but I possibly will run a few. Yeah, I guess that's enough for the first episode. I'll keep coming back to this team, as well as I will do normal content also. But this will be sort of a parallel project that I can work on when I get some extra time. I'll see if I can set up some nice way of recording, doing multi-boxing stuff. I'm sure that will work somehow, but I'll have to look into that. Yeah, that's some of the new features when you start a new account or a new character these days, and some strategy for starting up on a new server or an old server. So that will be all for now, and take care guys, until next time.